he signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those
trophies. 50 always been competition for Jay. Remember, I'm about $1. What the 50?
Welcome back to Buzzbuster. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss daily uploads. Things are heating up fast in the hip-hop world as T.I. is rumored to have passed along exclusive information about Jay-Z to 50 Cent, allegedly hoping it could surface in one of 50's upcoming documentary projects. After feeling slighted by subtle shade, now industry whispers suggest Jay-Z is watching the situation closely and growing increasingly frustrated as tensions continue to build. To understand how Jay-Z became part of this unfolding drama, you have to rewind to where it all began when T.I. first brought up the idea of a
why the final album? Like,
it's time.
As T.I. fans, like, we didn't want to hear that shit.
I feel you, but it's been 25 years. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's time. You know what I mean?
Versus battle during an appearance on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast hosted by Jilly the Kid and Wallow. During that conversation, T.I. claimed that he and 50 Cent had already discussed the idea privately, but once it became public, 50 appeared to deny any knowledge of its parking confusion and setting the stage for everything that followed. What started as a celebration of two legendary rap catalogs quickly turned into something far more intense. Fans were expecting a classic versus-style showdown between T.I. and 50 Cent, but instead watched tensions escalate across interviews and social media, making it one of the most talked about.
God gifts us with many talents and things that, you know, we have to offer while we're here on earth. I don't want to just spend all my time on earth doing just this one thing, and there's so many other people.
Hip-hop clashes of 2026. The idea of this battle had been building for years, dating back to 2020 when T.I. first challenged 50 on Instagram, only for 50 to dismiss it, even as 50 downplayed versus. After the pandemic, T.I. continued pushing the idea, especially during the rollout of his King project, where he reignited the conversation with renewed energy. Things intensified when T.I. appeared on shows like Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson, as well as the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, claiming the battle had already been discussed privately.
Told Dr. Dre, just for people who's not up on this, or Eminem, that he didn't want you to perform part of that Super Bowl. They had a couple
before 50 suddenly denied it. As T.I. kept repeating this claim, frustration grew, and what was meant to be a cultural moment, celebrating music, turned personal. He openly questioned 50's character, which shifted the tone entirely. As expected, 50 Cent responded in his signature style through social media, posting an unflattering image of Tamika Tiny Harris and telling T.I. to keep his name out of the conversation. That move escalated the situation instantly. What began as a debate over music turned into a full-blown personal conflict, with the Harris family stepping in to defend themselves. T.I. fired back online and even released a diss track titled War, adding more fuel to the fire. The situation continued to spiral as more posts, images, and responses flooded social media. King Harris entered the conflict as well, further intensifying tensions. The feud reached a sensitive point when an image involving 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, began circulating, triggering immediate backlash and pushing the conflict into deeply personal territory. What began as a celebration of two legendary rap catalogs quickly escalated into something far more intense. Fans initially expected a classic versus style.
Well, I just think,
possibly
not even threaten. You know, I think it's just when you take the competition from, like, our culture is competitive, man. It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then
showdown between T.I. and 50 Cent, but instead witnessed rising tensions spill across interviews and social media, turning it into one of the most talked about hip-hop clashes of 2026. The idea had been building since 2020 when T.I. first challenged 50 on Instagram, only to be dismissed even after 50 downplayed versus. Post-pandemic, T.I. kept pushing the concept, especially during the rollout of his King project, reigniting public interest. The situation intensified when T.I. appeared on platforms like Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson, as well as the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, claiming the battle had already been discussed privately, something 50 later denied. As T.I. continued repeating this, frustration grew and the narrative shifted from celebration to confrontation, with T.I. even questioning 50's character true to form 50 Cent. Responded on social media by posting an unflattering image of Tamika Tiny Harris and warning T.I. to keep his name out of the conversation. That move escalated things, instantly transforming a musical debate into a deeply personal feud. The Harris family stepped in to defend themselves while T.I. responded with a diss track titled War, further intensifying the conflict as the situation spiraled. More posts and reactions flooded online, with King Harris also entering the dispute, adding another layer of tension. The feud reached a particularly sensitive point when an image involving 50 Cent's late mother Sabrina Jackson began circulating, sparking immediate backlash and pushing the situation into deeply personal territory. As the situation escalated, major platforms began reporting industry insider buzz that 50 Cent could be working on another explosive documentary, potentially on the level of projects tied to Diddy, which instantly raised the stakes. The rumored title surviving T.I. Tiny Cent shockwaves across
the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. Like right now, you're not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5, and you still competing. It don't make sense. Like, what we compete.
Social media, blogs, and radio shifting the narrative from a rap feud into something far more serious with real-world implications. Some fans believed 50 was bluffing to apply pressure during T.I.'s album rollout, while others pointed to his track record, arguing that his silence often signals calculated moves behind the scenes. As discussions grew, so did concerns about the legal and ethical weight of such a project, especially if it touched on past allegations involving Tamika Tiny Harris claims that have been publicly denied and not proven in criminal court, with a related civil case dismissed in 2024. Despite the pressure, T.I. remained defiant, addressing the rumors directly and making it clear he was ready for any challenge, even as the situation evolved far beyond the original Versus concept into a high-stakes clash involving media reputation and influence. Meanwhile, speculation intensified as observers noticed a familiar pattern in 50 Cent's strategy: build attention, go quiet, then return with something that reshapes the entire conversation, leading many to believe a major production could already be underway. The narrative took another unexpected turn when Jay-Z became loosely connected to the discussion after resurfaced content and broader media coverage around documents linked to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell began circulating. Within those materials, Jay-Z's name appeared in an unverified hotline tip which was not confirmed, not proven in court, and resulted in no charge. An important distinction as speculation spread rapidly online. Even so, the mere mention added fuel to an already intense
Jay-Z conversations, questioning whether there was a competition between the two of them. There's a huge difference in energy internationally in 50 Cent and Jay-Z. In fact, his largest selling record sold 430-something thousand copies. My largest selling records, plural, 2 of them.
Atmosphere, showing how quickly narratives can expand in today's media landscape. At this point, what began as a potential musical face-off has transformed into a complex, unpredictable situation where documentaries, public perception, and industry power all collide. Fans remain divided, some viewing 50 Cent's moves as strategic and calculated, while others believe things have gone too far. One thing is clear: the attention hasn't dropped, the tension keeps rising, and with 50's history of turning controversy into content, the next move could shift everything once again. That's why the timing raised so many eyebrows, especially with 50 Cent already hinting at new documentaries and industry exposés. It had people questioning whether Jay-Z might get pulled into the spotlight intentionally or not, making the situation feel even bigger. At the same time, others pushed back, warning that building narratives from unverified reports can be misleading and unfair, emphasizing the importance of sticking to confirmed facts. A key detail often overlooked is that Jay-Z's name does not appear in verified flight logs or official contact lists tied to Jeffrey Epstein. What circulated instead came from an unverified FBI hotline tip, which the Department of Justice has made clear is not evidence or proof. Still, once his name began trending, that nuance quickly disappeared, amplified by headlines and social media. The situation escalated further when 50 Cent posted an AI-generated image of Jay-Z referencing those documents and hinting at a possible documentary, instantly driving massive engagement and pushing the conversation to another level. Given 50's track record and ongoing tension with T.I., many began to see this not as random but as part of a calculated strategy one has used before by introducing an idea, stepping back and letting public speculation build momentum. This wasn't even the first time he had hinted at having material on Jay-Z, which only fueled curiosity about what he might reveal next. To fully understand the weight of this moment, you have to look at the long history between 50 Cent and Jay-Z, dating back to 1999 when 50's How to Rob took shots at major industry names including Jay-Z, who responded in kind, setting the tone for a relationship built more on competition than friendship. While there have been moments of collaboration like joint appearances and remixes, the dynamic has always remained strategic rather than personal. 50 himself has described it as business over friendship, where influence and momentum matter most. What stands out now is Jay-Z's silence. True to form, he hasn't responded publicly, instead relying on a more calculated behind-the-scenes approach, which sharply contrasts with 50 Cent's outspoken and provocative style online. Meanwhile, T.I.'s involvement has pushed everything even further, transforming what began as a simple versus idea into one of the biggest and most complex hip-hop conflicts of 2026. Blend
with each other internationally. Let them be fooled in America and think there's a competition there, because America can be purchased. We can buy it with marketing dollars. You see what I'm saying? But the rest of the world, there's not enough marketing dollars to go around to change the way the
music, media, personal rivalries, and public perception into a rapidly evolving situation that shows no signs of slowing down. 50 Cent keeps bringing the conversation back to one powerful idea: documentaries. After proving how impactful that format can be with major releases, has made it clear this is no longer just about music, it's about shaping narratives, controlling influence and impacting public perception on a much larger scale. That's why his hints at potential projects involving T.I., Tamika, Tiny Harris and even Jay-Z are being taken seriously. Unlike diss tracks or social media moments that fade quickly, a full documentary can reach wider audiences, stay relevant for years and reshape how stories are understood. Right now the situation feels like it's on the edge of something much bigger, driven not just by current drama but by the possibility of what could come next. At the same time, the pressure on T.I. continues to build. While he remains vocal and confident through interviews and online responses, the narrative is no longer entirely in his control. A documentary brings a different kind of spotlight, one that's harder to respond to in real time and far more difficult to contain. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's complete silence has added another layer of intrigue. Some see it as a calculated power move, others as a behind-the-scenes strategy, but either way it keeps speculation alive, especially as 50 Cent continues to mention his name without receiving any direct response. Behind the scenes, the entire industry is watching closely. Artists, executives and fans all recognize that this has evolved far beyond a simple back and forth. What started as music-related tension has turned into a battle over media influence and narrative control. The big question now is whether 50 Cent will actually follow through with another major documentary, or if this is part of a larger strategy to keep attention locked in. Either way, the stakes are high and the spotlight isn't going anywhere. With history, tension and speculation all building at once, it feels like one major move could shift everything overnight, especially if a new documentary drops. Because that wouldn't just entertain, it could redefine the entire conversation. What stands out most is how deliberate 50 Cent's approach appears. He isn't rushing hints, steps back and lets the conversation grow on its own, keeping audiences constantly watching for the next move. T.I., on the other hand, continues pushing forward with his work, but the situation surrounding him keeps expanding from every direction, and through it all, Jay-Z's silence remains one of the biggest unknowns, fueling even more curiosity the longer it lasts. At this point, fans are locked in, the media is fully engaged, and the industry knows this has entered a completely different space, one no longer driven by music alone but by influence, control, and who ultimately gets to tell the story. Whether it comes through a documentary announcement, a major post, or something completely unexpected, the tension is clearly at its peak, and if history has shown anything, it's that when 50 Cent moves in a slow, calculated way, there's usually a bigger plan already unfolding behind the scenes. Right now the situation continues to build with no clear resolution, pulling in more attention as audiences try to predict the next move. What makes this moment so different is how unpredictable it feels. 50 Cent is Moving in silence while still controlling the narrative, T.I. remains active and vocal, and Jay-Z stays completely silent while his name continues to circulate. That contrast alone keeps everything on edge and raises a bigger question: who really controls the narrative from here? At this level, it's no longer...
He's a piece of work, man. He always put somebody in front of him. When Jada came for him, he put Beanie in front of him. And Beanie went back and forth with Jadakiss. When Cam came for him, he put True Life in front of him. And they went back and forth. And he just...
about who speaks the loudest but who makes the most impactful move. All eyes on 50 Cent, especially with the documentary angle still looming. As the longer this plays out, the more attention and speculation it attracts. New audiences' opinions and reactions continue to layer onto the story, making the outcome even harder to predict. One thing is certain: this situation isn't slowing down. With so much tension, history, and speculation wrapped into one moment, whatever happens next could shift everything in a major way. Timing is becoming the key factor for 50 Cent. Timing has always been strategic. Waits until attention peaks, then steps in to dominate the conversation. That's why every hint or post is being analyzed so closely, as many believe it's all building towards something bigger. In contrast, T.I. continues to stay visible, speaking directly, releasing music, and keeping his presence strong in real time. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's silence adds even more pressure, without him saying a single word, keeping his name at the center of the conversation through pure speculation. With all three moving so differently, it feels like everything is heading toward a defining moment where their paths collide, and when that moment arrives, it won't just be another update, it will shape how this entire situation is remembered. The only real question now is what that turning point will look like: a full documentary release, a sudden reveal, or something no one sees coming. That uncertainty is exactly what's keeping the tension so high as everyone watches closely, waiting for the move that changes everything. The biggest question now is what that turning point will actually look like. Will it be a full documentary announcement, a surprise release, or something no one sees coming? That uncertainty is exactly what's keeping the tension so high. If 50 Cent does move forward with a documentary, it could instantly reshape the entire conversation, reaching wider audiences and reframing how everything is perceived. That's why even the possibility of it is creating so much pressure. At the same time, T.I. continues to stay vocal and visible, but situations like this go beyond direct responses. They become about perception, and once that shifts, it's difficult to control. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's silence continues to stand out, adding mystery and keeping him at the center of the conversation. Without saying a word, everything now feels like it's building toward one defining moment. It's no longer a question of if something major will happen, but when. With tension, history, public attention, and major names all tied together, this situation isn't fading, it's escalating. For 50 Cent, there's growing expectation to deliver on the documentary talk. If he follows through, it could take things to another level overnight, but if not, it could shift how his strategy is viewed. For T.I., staying active has helped maintain some control, but the spotlight around him continues to expand beyond music, and Jay-Z's silence remains one of the most powerful elements fueling speculation. Simply by absence at this stage, anticipation is driving everything. Fans and media aren't just reacting, they're watching closely, waiting for the move that changes the direction of the story. Every post, rumor, and quiet moment adds to the pressure, making it clear this is building towards something bigger. There have been online rumors about a possible documentary tied to past accusations involving T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris, with commentary from figures like Tasha K, but none of it has been officially confirmed and remains speculation. The same applies to talk of a Jay's Focus project, which currently appears to be a mix of social media trolling and long-standing rivalry energy rather than any confirmed production. What this situation ultimately highlights is how much hip-hop conflict has evolved. It's no longer just about diss tracks, it's about documentaries, streaming platforms, and viral narratives shaping perception in real time. That shift makes everything feel bigger, more strategic, and far less predictable. Right now, all eyes remain on 50 Cent as people wait to see whether he turns this moment into another major media event or continues building pressure behind the scenes. Either way, the story is far from over, and whatever happens next could change everything.
To derive from the marriage.
I've absolutely been treated differently.
The accolades. Because he's no longer viewed as what, like a street or gangster rapper. Now he's viewed as a businessman, entrepreneur, family man.
And the biggest ones because of the position Beyonce's.
Oh, wow.